mathematics. Today we will continue our lesson on the question 2 BECE 2025 and know how best we were required to answer these questions in our 2025 BECE mathematics. Evaluate the expression given 4,000 times 0.35 all over 0.05, leaving your answer in standard form. So this is the question 2A, where learners were asked to evaluate the expression given and they are to leave their answer in the standard form. Good. So when you look at the expression, we can see clearly that this is a decimal questions that involving division, and we are being asked to leave our answer in standard form. Good. Now let's look at the solution that we were expected to give from this very work. So you have here the solution for that. I believe we can all see. So you have A being 4,000 times 0.35 or divided by 0.05. Good. So this is the expression that we were given. And with this expression, we have been asked to evaluate and leave it in standard form. Now we have two ways of solving this particular question. Okay, I have the first one solved here, then the second method. So we'll look at both methods. We learners in basic 8 and 7, we can learn from 8, and the method we think it's okay for us to use in our solution. Now, with this method that I solved here, or the first method I give here, is saying that looking at the expression that you've been given, which is the 4,000 times 0.35 or divided by 0.05, we have decided, or we can decide, to convert this 4,000 into, so we can convert the 4,000 as 4.0 times 10 raised to the power 3 times 10 raised to the power 3. So this was the expression, and you were asked to express this expression or evaluate the expression and leave your answer in a standard form. So this expression that we have here, which is the 4,000 times 0.35 or divided by 0.05, we will first of all express this 4,000 in a standard form. Good. So having it, I deeply apologize due to my network instability. So we are going to convert the 4,000 into standard form, and that is going to give you 4.0 times 3 times 10 raised to the power 3. So this 4.0 is a standard number, okay? And to the power 3 was because we moved from this side to this side 3 times. So we first of all converted this one in standard form. 1. That is what we are going to get. But since we want to make the calculation more easier and simpler for us, the best thing we are supposed to do is to write the 0.35 as a whole number. That is why we are having 35 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. Why negative 2? Because we want the 0.35 to be a whole number. The decimal point will be brought here, which will give you 35.0, being the same as a whole number. So we moved the decimal point from this side 2 times, and that gives us the 35 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. So if 0.35, we've also converted it into 35 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. And this makes the calculation very simple when you convert it into standard form or into whole numbers, but in a standard form with a decimal or the indices as 10 raised to the power the given number. So we also did the same thing for the decimal, giving you 0.05 all over, which is the decimal, which is the denominator, sorry. So we have 5 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. Why is it negative 2? Negative 2 because moving from here, we are going to have the decimal point moving 2 times, giving you 5.0. And 5.0 is basically the same as 5. Good. So we've now been able to convert this into whole number and also in a standard form. Now, after being able to do this, we have to group like terms by grouping the whole numbers separately and the indices separately. So we have 4.0, which is the same as 4. Then we have the 35. So we group like terms by having 4 times 35 being this one. Then 10 raised to the power 3 times 10 raised to the power negative 2. And that is the grouping of like terms we've done here. With the denominator, we have only one whole number and one index. So we can also as well separate them to make the calculation very simpler or easier. Times 35 all divided by 5. So with the whole number after grouping like terms, this is what we have. Then we also have the indices after grouping like terms this way. Now let's look at the whole number first. When you look at the whole number, 5 can cancel out 35. So in our next step, you've seen that 5 has been able to cancel 35 7 times. So 5 into itself 1, 5 into 35 7 times. Now we can multiply 4 times 7, which is giving you 4 times 7, having the denominator to be 1. Then with the indices, looking at this side after grouping the like terms, we know based on the laws of indices, the first one says that when you multiply and the bases are the same, you just have to add the powers. So we've added the powers here because the bases are the same and we are multiplying. So that is going to give you 10 raised to the power 3 plus negative 2. Working the powers here, we are going to get 10 raised to the power 1. Remember, we are working for the numerator. We are working for the numerator. And here for the whole number, the 5 has cancelled 35. And we are having 4 times 7 over the denominator. And with the indices, the powers here has given you 1 after doing your calculation for the powers. So we have for the numerator as 10 raised to the power 1 over 10 raised to the power 2, which is the denominator that we have here. Good. So now we can multiply the numerator, which is 4 times 7, which is giving you 28, and the denominator being 1, times the expression here. Now again, we will apply the law of indices. Remember here we are dividing and the bases are the same. So now in basic 8, we should be familiar with the laws of indices by being able to say or know that the bases are being the same here and we are dividing. And when we divide, what do? We subtract. Good. So if the bases are the same, then we can therefore go ahead and subtract because bases are the same based on the second law of indices. When bases are the same, you subtract the powers. So we have 1 being the power here and negative 2 being the power here. So we now have 1 minus negative 2. Do remember that the power here has a negative. So if the power here has a negative, then we are going to have negative meeting negative, which will therefore change to positive. So look, working out the second law of indices for this very one, we are going to have 10 raised to the power 1 minus negative 2, where negative meets to become positive. then we have 1 plus 2. So again, we are going to get 28 times 10 raised to the power 1 plus 2. Working the indices here, we are going to get 10 raised to the power 3. So this gives you 20 used based on the question that we've used and the method that we've used and what the question is demanding. The question is demanding to leave your answer in standard form. But when you look at the answer we have here, we have 28 times 10 raised to the power 3. But the 28 here is not within the standard range. The standard range is from 1 to 9. So if you have 28, 28 is not within 1 to 9. So we would therefore convert this 28 into standard form. So converting 28 into standard form, we will give you 2.8 times 10 raised to the power 1. How? Actually, or initially, 28 is a whole number, having the decimal to be at this side because we have 28.0. So we'll move the decimal point to this very end between 2 and 8. And 2 and 8 is within the range 1 to 9, leaving it a standard form. So the 28 can now be a standard number as 2.8 times 10 raised to the power 1 times 10 raised to the power 3. Where from this 10 raised to the power 3, remember, is from the solution from the beginning. So we now have 10 raised to the power 1 times 10 raised to the power 4, which, using first law of indices, states that for such law says that bases are the same, you are multiplying, then you add the power. So we are going to add 1 plus 3, giving us what? 4. Remember, the 28 is now 2.8 and now gives us the answer as 2.8 times 10 raised to the power 4. And this is the solution required for the question 2A, 2025 BECE mathematics. So working out, this is the first method, or you have two methods, and this is one of the methods that you can use to arrive at the what? At the answer. I will briefly go through the second method, where a learner will be able to understand the first method or the second method. Either you use this method or the second method we are about to talk about, you arrive at the same answer. So with the question 2A for BECE 2025 mathematics, let's look at the second method that we can possibly use in order to arrive at the same possible answer. Let's look at the second method we can use. So we have the second alternative here with the same expression. We are being asked to evaluate and leave our answer in standard form. Now with this method, we will try to multiply the numbers that we have or the decimal that we have. So here, this is the expression that we were given. We were given 4,000 times 0.35 all over 0.05. That was the expression we were given. So now here, with this method, we are going to multiply 4,000 times 0.35. Okay, we are going to first of all multiply this. Now, when you are multiplying and there is a decimal, we have a way of multiplying involving decimals with the multiplication of decimals. What do? We first of all ignore the decimal point. So when you ignore the decimal point, we are now going to get 0.35, which is the same as 35. So we multiply 4,000 times 35. Again, we can annex the 0 and multiply 4 times 35. Remember, we are not using calculator. So if you annex the 0, the calculation becomes more easier for you to multiply 35 by 4. And that gives you 140. Then we bring back the 0, giving you 140,000 after doing your multiplication. That is going to give you 140,000 after doing the multiplication. So we are having 140 after multiplying. Then we bring back the 0. That is going to give us 140,000. Okay. Now after multiplying, remember the question was having a decimal point. So we will bring back the decimal point in our final answer that we have. So in this answer, we have 140,000. But how many numbers were after the decimal point here? 2 numbers. So in our final answer, we make sure that there are 2 numbers after the final answer we have after doing the annex and adding of zeros. So this reduces the numerator to 1,400. To 1,400. And now this gives us 1,400 all over 0.05. The denominator we didn't touch. We were only working with the numerator. We first of all ignored the decimal point. We therefore multiplied and annexed the 0 and later brought it back. Afterwards, we brought back the decimal point, showing the numbers that were behind the decimal point. And now we have 1,400 divided by 0.05. Again, this 0.05, which is the denominator, can be written as 5 over 100. Why is it so? It is so because when you look at the 0.05, the place of 5 is thousandth. Okay, is thousandth. So writing this or this decimal, converting this decimal into a common fraction will give us 5 over 100. So this 1,400 can as well be written as 1,400 all over 5 over 100. Again, this expression can be written as 1,400 divided by 5 over 100. I believe we can see. Good. So once you are having this expression, we apply the theorem of division. And the theorem of division states that in order to work with me, you have to change me to multiplication and reciprocate the immediate fraction on my right. So we will reciprocate it. That means the numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. So now we have 1,400. Division will change to multiplication. Then we reciprocate this fraction. That is 100 over 5. Okay. Then we can therefore further the calculation because we can't work out the division with this by therefore using the theorem of division. So the division changes to multiplication. Then we reciprocate this. We can therefore continue the calculation by doing simple calculation or cancellation, where 5 can go into 100 20 times. Now we have 1,400 times 20. With this expression, we can therefore multiply and get 28,000. This is what we are going to get with this method, 28,000. So the 28,000, remember the question said, evaluate and leave your answer in standard form. So with the 28,000 that you have, you therefore convert this answer in a standard form. Initially, the 28,000 can be written as 28,000.0. So look at where the decimal point is. We just want to carry the decimal point in such a way that this 28,000 will be within the range 1 to 9. Because remember, standard numbers or standard forms, the numbers are supposed to be in this range. 28,000 is not within 1 to 9. So what do? We move the decimal point here. Now you have 2,800. It is not within the range. You move again. You have 280. It's not within the range. You move again. You have 28. It's not within the range. You move again. Now you have 2.8. And you will notice that 2.8 is within 1 to 9. So if 2.8 is within 1 to 9, then in standard form, we are going to have 2.8 times 10. Times 10 raised to the power what? It is times 10 raised to the power based on the number of times you moved. How many times did we move from the decimal point? We moved 1, 2, 3, 4. We moved 4 times. So to the power 4. And so with either this method or the very first method that we were to, we can use that method to solve for the question 2A. Remember, the interest here is to leave your answer in standard form. So whether you go by the first method or you go by the second alternative method, we all arrive at the same answer. I deeply apologize due to my internet instability, but we are working on it so that we can get a stable network for a flow of communication. Let's look at the question 2B. Briefly, it says Mr. Boaji gets 10% commission on type P house he sells and 15% on type Q house he sells. Okay, on type Q house, sorry. He sells 3 type P houses at 700,000 Ghana cedis each. Let's take good notice of the word each. And for type Q house at 1,400,000 Ghana cedis each. Again, let's take a very clear notice of the word each. It is very, very important. Anytime we read a word problem and you come across certain words, we have to take them serious, because if you don't, it will go against us. So Mr. Boaji gets a commission of 10% on type house he sells. Okay, and when we say commission is basically, let's say, the profit earned from a sales boy or a salesperson. Okay, so if I sell, or I'm able to sell whatever I'm being given, the percentage given to me, once I'm able to sell based on the quantity given on the product, I'm able to get a profit, or I earn something for selling. So Mr. Boaji happens to be a salesperson who gets 10% commission for selling a house. And this house, we have type P and type Q. So for type P, Mr. Boaji gets 10% commission if he's able to sell one. And for type Q, he's also able to get 15% commission if he's also able to sell one type P house. And the price tag for type P has been given in the question as 700,000 Ghana cedis. And that of type Q is 1,400,000 Ghana cedis. So this percentage is for selling type P, and this percentage is for selling type Q. So let's look at what learners were expected to do when writing this or those who try to answer this question. So first of all, we have to calculate the commission earned on type P house. Now, we have been told that when he's able, or if he's able to sell type P house, he gets a commission of 10% of the amount. Okay, he gets 10%. So if he's able to sell one type P house, we can calculate the commission by simply multiplying 10% by 700,000. And with simple calculation, we have 10% to be equivalent to 10 over 100 times 700,000. So the 2 zeros will cancel out the 2 zeros, leaving behind 10 times 7,000. 10 times 7,000. So we multiply 10 times 7,000. He is getting a commission of 70,000 if he is able to sell one type P house. Now, from the question, they are telling us that he sells 3 type P houses. So if he is able to sell one, he is getting what? 70,000. So we therefore calculate the commission for selling 3 type P houses, and that would be 3 times 70,000, and that gives us 210,000 Ghana cedis. It looks like the BECE 2025 WAEC were very, very, very lenient on our candidate this time. Let's admit the fact, because this is a simple question that most learners will be able to solve with ease. So for type P house, Mr. Boaji will get 210,000. Okay, this is the commission Mr. Boaji is going to get for selling the 3 type P houses. Okay, then we also calculate commission earned on type Q houses. Again, we have been told from the question that he gets a commission of 15% on type Q house. And type Q house, he was able to sell 4 type Q houses at 1,400,000 each. So that's why I said let's take good note of the each. So for every one type P house is earning 15% commission for every type Q. For every type Q house he is able to sell, he is earning 15% commission. So we have to also calculate commission earned on type Q houses. So type Q houses is earning commission of 15% of the sales amount. Okay, so we just multiply, then we have 15 over 100 times 1,400,000, where 2 zeros cancel out 2 zeros. We now have 15 times 14,000, okay, because after canceling, this is what we are having. So 15 times 14,000. So we multiply, and this is what he is earning for selling one type Q house. So for selling one type Q house, Mr. Abuaji is earning 210,000 Ghana cedis. But how many houses did he sell? From the question, he sold 4 type Q houses. 4 type Q houses. So for selling 4 type Q houses, we will multiply 4 times the commission he is earning for selling one. So 4 times 210,000, that is going to give us 840,000 Ghana cedis. So if he sells if he has been able to sell 4 type Q houses, he is earning this amount of money as his commission. Again, if he was able to sell 3 type P houses, he is earning 210,000 Ghana cedis. What is the question demanding? The question is demanding you to calculate the total commission he makes. So for selling 3 type P houses, he's earning this amount, okay? And for selling 4 type Q houses, he is also earning this amount. So what is the total? So we therefore calculate the total commission by simply adding the commission made for type P and type Q. For type P and type Q. And that gives you 210,000 plus 840,000 Ghana cedis. Doing this simple 2 calculation for addition, we are going to get 1,050,000 Ghana cedis. So we state and say, therefore, Mr. Abuaji makes a total commission of 1,050,000 Ghana cedis. I think so far, ever since I've gone through the past questions, this is one of the easiest commission question on commission that learners have been presented to solve, and we can all testify to it that it's very simple, especially to my easy mathematics learners. All we need to do is to just multiply the commission percentage by the sales amount. And easy mathematics has also been able to upload lessons on commission, and I believe we have been able to learn from it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've presented to you today. Question 2, mathematics for 2025 BECE, A and B. This is what we were asked to do. This is the question that we were given. I believe we can see. Actually, we have technical issues and that of our instability of our internet connection, and we are working duly on that so that we can provide you with quality lesson. And again, you can sponsor our program by sharing our links. If you have any sponsorship, either by helping us to get the right equipment, the right technical tools in order to do these things, will be much appreciated. We need sponsorship for this service, and we hope that this finds you well. And these are the solutions that learners were expected to provide with the section. With the question 2A, we provided 2 possible solutions, and we said learners can use any. Once you understand, you can use that. And we have the section B, the question 2B also provided nicely. Again, thank you very much for staying tuned. My name is Christian Malco, again a proud learner of University of Education, Winneba. And indeed, easy mathematics, our aim is to make mathematics easy for all. Thank you for staying tuned. All those who join us on live, God bless you. God bless you. Please don't forget to share, subscribe, and sponsor the program as any means or by any means that you can in order for us to get there. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for BECE question 3 the next time we meet again. See you next time. Bye bye.